So it's the first weekend fixtures in July. This is Matchday 33. We got things started at Carrow Road, the bottom club. They face Brighton, who aren't entirely safe, so a competitive match was expected. Strangely, Farker put Pookie and Cantwell, his two potent strikers, on the bench. That mystified me, as it did many. Not a lot to report about the first 20 minutes. Neat passing interchange by both sides, but no penetration. And both goalkeepers could have been sitting in the empty stands. But then on 25 minutes, a quick break by Brighton, and Tossard met a smart quash from the right by Moy. He nipped in front of the defender and it was 1-0. 32 minutes, Fernandez went down the left for Norwich. He cut inside, but his shot went tamely wide. And that was about it. There was another shot from Fernandez just before the break, but half-time, 1-0 to Brighton. Second half, not a lot to report. A lot of effort from Norwich, but no creativity. Those two strikers did come in on late in the fray, but Brighton were pretty comfortable. But a burn header went inches wide from a free kick, and Krul, he had to be alert to avoid another goal. Header hit a post for Norwich late on, but it wasn't enough. Another defeat for the Canaries, and the reaction on the pitch told everyone how they were feeling. A number of players didn't return to the dressing rooms and looked very distressed. I think they now realise that their time is up in the Premier League. So full time at Carrow Road, Norwich 0, Brighton 1. So to Stamford Bridge then, Chelsea at home to Watford. Watford's lost the last 4 out of 5. Chelsea, of course, got beaten in midweek by West Ham, so they were looking to bounce back, trying to get that fourth space. It was the anniversary, the first year in charge for Lampard. A telling statistic, Watford had not won at the Bridge since 1986. That's 34 years if you're counting. Mount was back in, as was a few other changes. Kovacic on the bench. Pulisic retained, however. For Watford, Gray back on the bench. Giroud selected for Chelsea up front, and early on he had a shot blocked by Foster. And then on 28 minutes, that man Giroud managed to get in the box. He's always pretty hot in there. Great assist from Barkley, and Giroud clipped it into the corner. 1-0 to the Blues. 43 minutes, a rough challenge on Pulisic by the Watford defence. He fell over. Capoue was the culprit. Williams stepped up, and he doesn't miss from the penalty spot, so it's 2-0 to Chelsea at the break. Second half, total domination from Chelsea. Watford were really disappointing, consider their situation. And it was no surprise that finally Chelsea got their third. They had to wait until added time when Barkley finished it after some good build-up play. The intervening moments, there had been a couple of efforts by the Hornets. One from Welbeck playing against his old club, and another a set-up by Welbeck for Hughes. But the finishing was relatively poor, and not a lot of work for Kepa in the goal. So Barclay sealed it all on 91. Easy win for Chelsea. They'd taken this game by 3-0. So to the King Power, Leicester at home to Crystal Palace. Leicester's form has been not good since the restart. They haven't won, and they haven't scored any goals apart from that delightful Chilwell goal on the first day. Iniacho was in up front, and Perez was restored. Barnes and Pratt on the bench, as was Maddison. Not sure whether he's got a slight knock. Benteke was back for Palace, as was Sacco. Early on, the crossbar got rattled by Justin, who playing at right back for Leicester. We haven't seen Pereira for some time. And then some Palace chaos really led to an opportunity for Evans, but his effort went over the top. So two warnings for Palace. 32 minutes, Milahalovic, great free kick, inches wide, but it was goalless at the break. And 49 minutes, ball down the left and a delicious cross from Tielemans, and Iniacho ran in and pushed it home from 6 yards, and so they were off the mark, Leicester, ahead by 1-0. A good response for Palace. Cahill's header forced a decent save from Schmeichel, and then on 77 minutes, he'd been waiting for this to try and get his 100th in the league. Vardy, dreadful error by Sacco, and Vardy unmarked following the cross from Barnes, converted for 2-0, and my goodness, didn't he look happy. He'd had an earlier effort which he hadn't managed to take advantage of it, and you could see the frustration was boiling over, but that was all forgotten on 77. Vardy making it 2-0 for Leicester, and then he decided to add a little bit of spice. 94 minutes, he managed to beat the offside trap near the halfway line, ran down fully into the box, nobody could catch him, and he tucked it wide of the keeper, Gaeta, and that was 3-0. It was all over then. Leicester all smiles, because they were possibly getting a bit worried about the chasing pack, but they've restored their position in third place. A comfortable win. Leicester beat Crystal Palace by 3-0. Now to Old Trafford. Manchester United, who are on an excellent run of late, they were at home to Bournemouth, who were in desperate need of anything. King was back for Bournemouth, Wilson not available, and they gave a debut to Kelly in for the club captain, and 10 minutes. And United, by the way, same selection at full strength. 10 minutes, Fernandes was put through, and he managed to feed Rashford, and Ramsdale came out and he basically forced Rashford to put it over. Then 15 minutes, some Stanislas magic on the left near the byline. He managed to nutmeg Maguire, and then he had the audacity to clip it in De Gea's inside post. I don't know what the keeper was doing really, but it whistled past him, and the Cherries were 1-up. 18 minutes, a free cut from 30 yards, and Rashford whipped it in with some ferocity, but it was patted away by Ramsdale. Then on 22 minutes, another defensive lapse from United, and Stanislas' shot this time was just over. But then 6 minutes later, a peach of a goal. Great approach work by Matic and Mambasaka, who got it through to Rashford, and he delayed his pass, and he set up Greenwood, and Greenwood on the edge of the box lashed it in with his left foot, and it was a tremendous shot, and that was 1-1. 4 minutes later, and they turned it round. United on the attack, a lot of pressure, there was a hand in the melee in the box by Lerma. The referee spotted it, and surprisingly Rashford stepped up to take the kit, but he stroked it in the corner, and it was 2-1 to the Reds. 45 minutes, 40 minutes. Great piece of work. Set up Martial, who swooped in from the left side, and he hit the ball, and it was a sweet shot. It curved in just under the bar. The keeper had absolutely no chance. It was an outstanding effort, and that put United 3-1 up, and that was the score at the break. Come out for the second half though, and United looked all at sea. Their defence was looking frail, and they really put themselves on the back foot. And a piece of pressure from Bournemouth, a ball that was clipped to the left of the box, and inadvertently Bailly, who had come on as a substitute, jumped up for the ball, and it seemed to strike his shoulder. There was a lot of debate, but the referee awarded a penalty, and it was referred to VAR, who concluded that he had struck the ball with the top of his left arm. So King stroked up and converted the penalty, and so we were back to 3-2, game on. But on 50 minutes, there was another piece of pressure by the Cherries, but their effort was chalked off for offside, but they were looking threatening. Then 53 minutes, a sigh of relief for the few that were watching inside Old Trafford. The ball was swept out to the right side of the box this time. Greenwood took an extra yard to his right, and from what looked an awkward angle, he swept the ball across the keeper into the far left-hand corner, the keeper's right, and he got his brace, and it was 4-2. 3 minutes later, a free kick on the edge of the box, and it looked awfully difficult to get the ball up and over the wall and then down, but Fernandes seemed to be inspired, and he clipped it round the wall, across the goal, and it hit the net, and that was 5-2 to United. That really took the wind out of the sails of the Cherries. They did try and respond, but to no avail. Rashford could have made it 6, but he was flagged offside. And then Pogba, majestic parts to shore, and a good save from Ramsdale prevented the 6th. 91 minutes, Pogba was looking almost back to his best. A free kick, a great effort by him, but the goalkeeper was good enough. So that was it then. All in all, a resounding win for the Red Devils. But they did have their shaky moments, particularly Maguire. But the final score at Old Trafford was Manchester United 5, Bournemouth 2. So we were at Molineux then for Wolves against Arsenal. A statistic to set you going. Lowest points tally for Arsenal since the season 94-95. So although Arteta has had some results, he knows that his side's got to do better. Pepe was absent on baby leave. His girlfriend had just had a kid. Early on, Patricio saved from a weak effort by Aubameyang, and up the other end Johnny had a shot which went wide, and then Nikitia managed to hit a post, and on replay it was clear that Patricio had got a slight touch, and then on 43 minutes Tierney managed to get down the left win some space. His cross was met by Saka on the volley. He swiveled and did a 180 degrees and hooked it in the top corner. Beautiful goal. And the Gunners were ahead. Wolves were pretty disappointing, it has to be said. They set such high standards. They just didn't seem to be able to get out of the blocks. And into the second half, even Traore was making a mess of opportunities and very little for Jimenez. And it wasn't too much of a surprise that Lacazette on 86 doubled the Gunners' lead after a cross from Willett. It was a neat finish, and that was it. 2-0 final score. Good result for Arteta. Pragmatic from Espirito Santo, but that's dented Wolves' chances of advancing into the Champions League. But nevertheless, final score at Molineux, Arsenal beating Wolves by 2-0.